Congratulations, you've made it. Your band's ready to do its first gig. And now you're going to go to the venue, you're going to set up, and you've got to do a sound check. But you've never done a sound check. And what's the etiquette for a sound check? How do you even do it? And what's the sound guy even doing during the sound check? Well, those are the things I'm going to cover in this video. The first thing you want to do when you arrive is to chat with the sound engineer. They will explain the process and direct you where you can set up. In my experience, the drums are almost always the first thing checked. It's important that you hit as hard as you would in a show. What the engineer is going to be doing is setting your gain. They're going to shoot for, in this case, and pretty standard is -18. Next thing they work on is usually broad strokes with the EQ. Things like low cut, they'll take out the stuff that isn't necessary. They usually hit some compression and then maybe they'll come back in with a gate. Now drums can take a while to check, and that's because there's so many pieces that are mic'd up. And it can take a few moments and a lot of work to make sure the inputs are all accurate and to get them sounding as one cohesive piece. On to the rest of us peasants. By peasants, of course, I mean the rest of the band. The order can vary in this stage, and it's usually whoever is done setting up next. They'll do the same steps that they did with the drum kit and all the pieces, but now they'll do it with the rest of the band, setting the gain and looking for any problem frequencies. Now on to the most important part of any band, the guitar player. Normally there's one guitar player, maybe two, but this one guitar player brought a couple other instruments. He brought a banjo and I believe what's called a lap steel guitar. It's very cool. Now if you're running live amps on the stage, the sound engineer may ask you to turn them down. What they're doing is they're trying to keep the stage sound low, because if they're mixing, they want everybody to hear what's coming out of the PA, not what's coming from your amps. Do not be offended if they ask you to turn it down. They want to be able to do the dynamics of your show from out on the floor. Now it's time for the final check. What you'll normally do is run a song or two, and at this time the engineer is going to make sure there isn't anything that sounds harsh or that sounds bad, and make sure the overall mix sits together well. This is also a great time, if you have any problems with monitors or you can't hear something, to talk to the engineer and they'll get you taken care of. Well, you did it. You survived your first sound check. It wasn't that painful now, was it? Now here's a few things to keep in mind while you're doing a sound check to make it go smoothly and to make sure that you're invited back. Number one, always be respectful to the sound engineer and the staff. If people like you, they will invite you back. Number two, it's not about your volume on the stage. It's about the overall band volume. Do not turn that amp up after the break and you come back in. With those few rules in mind, I have no doubt you're going to have a successful show. Now get out there and show them a good time.